Hi there, my name is Dr. Sherry Walling, and I am a clinical psychologist who focuses on supporting and working with entrepreneurs and other leaders. And today I want to talk about the challenge and the importance of finding your people. Loneliness is one of the reasons that many entrepreneurs come to work with me. There is no doubt that when you are starting, growing, and leading, even exiting your own company, you are kind of in a class by yourself. And there's a saying in the entrepreneurial world that, it's lonely at the top. And that is very, very true. A lot of entrepreneurs who are people who have really unique ways of seeing the world. They are off the beaten path. They are following the beat of their own drum, like however you want to say it. They are not made like the other people. And that can mean that there's a lot of loneliness. Many entrepreneurs don't really have a set of peers. They are running a business that is unique. There's not like a lot of people doing the same thing. Or if they are doing the same thing, then they may be competitors. So there's not a lot of people who really understand the inner workings of an entrepreneur's experience, their business, their day-to-day life, the challenges and the stressors that are part of what happens to them in their business and in the context of their leadership. And that means that when there's not a lot of understanding or visibility, it's really difficult to make long-standing, deep, and meaningful connections. And there are a lot of entrepreneur groups like EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, YPO, there's a bunch of them that help bring people together in kind of a networking context. And these organizations can be really, really helpful in helping an entrepreneur feel like if they don't exactly have peers in their business, at least they have peers of people who have similar levels of pressure, responsibility, innovation, creativity, all the things that kind of go into the recipe of the entrepreneurial life. But one of the challenges is, I think, helping people to understand or recognize the difference between networking and friendship. And both are wonderful and both are absolutely and essential to the well-being of the entrepreneur. Networking is a relationship that's really based around someone's identity in their business. It's kind of a coalition between people who have the ability to help each other, the ability to give advice, to give support, maybe even to provide connections, to provide meaningful help to each other along the entrepreneurial journey. And these are essential relationships. My friend Jason Gaynor talks about how business moves at the speed of relationship. I guess there's also a Stephen Covey quote that talks about business moving at the speed of trust. But the network, the people that you know, the people that you can call on for help or for ideas or support, the people that you can show up for, that's just extraordinarily important to a healthy and successful business. But networking is not quite the same as friendship. They can be overlapping, right? You can be friends with people in your network, but friendship is a layer deeper. The force that brings you together is not just your business or the fact that you're both entrepreneurs, but in friendship, the force that brings you together really is a true and pure liking of each other. Like, I want to spend time with you. I find you really interesting. You make me laugh. I'm drawn to you. I feel like you add value to my life beyond what you can do for me professionally. And friendships are forged in many, many ways. But a lot of folks have difficulty making friends as adults. When we make friends as children, we are friends with the people that we're in a class with or on a sports team with or live in our neighborhood. So one of the drivers of friendship is proximity. And as entrepreneurs, we don't necessarily have a lot of proximity with people outside of the people that work in our business or our families. And so if we're going to cultivate friendship and really dive into friendship as adults, especially if we're in the place of needing to make a new set of friends, that has to be done very, very intentionally. The problem of proximity is real. As I mentioned, there are these wonderful entrepreneur groups that pull entrepreneurs together. Some of those, though, are national or even international groups. So you might be meeting amazing people that you feel deeply connected to and a lot of resonance with, but they might live all over the country or all over the world, which means you've got folks like scattered about and it's not easy to sort of drop in for coffee or a beer after work. So we have to artificially create this experience of proximity, whether that's scheduling a regular call once a month or even planning planning like a quarterly trip to see each other in person. There's no real substitute for frequency and depth of connection. And so you have to be in the same room at some time if you really want that friendship to flourish. The other thing that's essential in really cultivating depth of relationship is, of course, attention and intention. All of us are very busy, and I think the life of an entrepreneur is uniquely nonstop. Most entrepreneurs that I know are kind of thinking about their business all the time. Also, most entrepreneurs that I know have other things that they do in their lives. They're partnered, or they have children, they have dogs, they've got some other thing going on. And so unless friendship is deeply prioritized, or the cultivation of a network, unless your non-familial, non-work relationships are a real focus or a priority for you, they easily fall by the wayside. So this idea of proximity, of making sure that you are putting yourself in places where you are going to meet people who are friend material, whether that's entrepreneur networking groups or the gym or other places. And then attention and intention, the idea of like really cultivating, like taking the initiative, inviting people to coffee, being the person who makes the ask. It's a little bit awkward, and I think it's maybe a little bit like dating, like, hey, do you want to go to coffee? But it's really, really important. And the more that you do it, I think the more reps you get at being able to just say, hey, I'm really interested in what you're working on. Maybe we can get together for lunch. The other thing that's absolutely essential in terms of friendship is finding common content or values, things that really weave you together. And one of the things that I think is really helpful in forging friendships for entrepreneurs is a shared hobby. Rob spends a lot of time playing D&D, and he has a couple of regular D&D groups that he pulls together. And these are people who, some of them are entrepreneurs and some of them are not, but they have this shared interest and a shared willingness to spend hours sitting around a table, rolling dice and talking about, like, I don't really understand what they're doing, but they seem to be like conquering monsters and exploring castles and things like that. I also have a whole network of really dear friends that I've cultivated through my circus hobby. And there's nothing quite like playing together, whether that's playing a board game or being in the air on a trapeze, that helps us to form bonds. It really is like going back to the friendships that we made when we were playing on the playground as kids. Like the ways that we play are this really important kind of vulnerable piece of us. So when people see us at play, they really get to know us. They get a sense of how we laugh and how we move and who we are, and like our attitude when we're frustrated, and our ability to bounce back, our ability to solve problems. So play is a wonderful way to really see and form deeper bonds with people in friendship. Your business health and your mental health rely on your relational health. So the extent to which you are giving attention and really cultivating relationships with other entrepreneurs, with people who are not entrepreneurs, with, tending the relationships that you had when you were in high school or college, with people who knew you back when, before you were fancy. And then the extent to which we forge relationships because we're playing together or alongside each other in something that we're passionate about. These help knit us together. These are the things that create our communities. And community is one of the most essential things to mental well-being and resilience. Over and over and over, bodies of research from social psychology to cognitive psychology to clinical psychology to sociology and anthropology point to the centrality of relationship as the thing that buffers us against bad outcomes or bad mental health when challenges happen. So especially in times of increased uncertainty in the sort of meta level outside world, those bonds, those tender friendships are really important in helping us to feel sane and stable and like we are actually enjoying our life. So make sure that you spend some time giving attention to your friendships. And if you don't feel like you have a lot of friendships right now, then hopefully some of these tips around proximity, attention, and hobbies and playing together can be helpful to you. If you'd like to come see some of my friends at play, we are putting on a circus show Memorial Day weekend here in Minneapolis. And it is actually a show that is all about relationships. It's called Familia, and it's around the choices that we make around who our people are, how we find our people, and how we craft bonds that really sustain us throughout the duration of our lives. And yes, all of that is told through a circus. So come check it out. We'd love to have you. For more strategies and tactics around how to stay mentally well and to thrive as you are running your business, check out ZenFounder.com, join our mailing list. That's probably the best way to get the most content from the work that my team and I produce. And yeah, thanks for watching.